Will Worsham joins us now for this week's Speaking Legal discussion. Will, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. You're casual look. You're looking good.
Yes, it's summer.
It's summer.
Yes.
A little rainy, but,
at least for a little
but
while
it's warm
longer.
out there, that's for sure.
I'm not putting that suit on unless I have to.
I don't blame
Absolutely
you.
have to.
You
I don't
have
blame
to
you. And you voted, by the way. Note the stickers, so go vote, everybody.
Yes, and we need to do it still.
Yep.
Absolutely.
I'll get there after the show.
Okay, me too. Are we ready for the question?
Yeah.
All right. I sublet my apartment over the summer. While home from school, turns out they didn't pay all the rent. The landlord says I owe for the summer even though I had a subtenant. Now, do I have to pay for the time the subtenant was living there?
Good question.
Yeah.
Do you want to take a poll?
I have a guess.
Do you want to take a shot at it yet? Yeah, well, let's have a guess.
I have a guess that he absolutely does have to pay for it because his name is on the lease.
You owe the money.
All right.
You owe the money.
Well, thanks for
That's my
tuning in
guess.
today. You got the right answer.
I'm just saying. Happy to be of legal services.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
If you're the tenant, you signed the lease, and you're obligated for that. It's a contract. In fact, most leases you'll find, if you really read through them, they're going to have a prohibition against subleasing anyway.
Oh.
So you got before you decide, hey, I'm just going to sublease my apartment, you need to make sure you have the right to do that. You know, we've talked about in the past, property law, they has that bundle of sticks theory. You get so many rights. You know, you don't really own your house, the government does. If you think that's not right, don't pay your property tax and find out who really owns your house, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so you just have the rights to it. So if you have leased that property, you've leased possession of it from the person that has legal title to it,
right,
or actually owns it. You may or may not have the right to sublease to another tenant. If you do, there may be restrictions on when and how you can do that, but you're still the obligated person to the landlord, not the subtenant. So yeah, you absolutely do owe that money. You can be evicted because it's still a rent in possession. You didn't pay the rent.
Yeah.
You can be evicted, and you can be sued to not only have to pay the rent, but not get to live there anymore. And
You
I don't know
signed
if
on
that's
to
a question.
begin with. I'm just a little bit surprised, maybe, and I'm sure this person was too, that they didn't know this for a while.
Right, yeah.
You know?
Well, you know, I would read through the question and go, if they were back home, they may not have been getting the notices. And
That's true.
And that's the trick about a sublease. You know, it's like, I'm only going to be here for 3 months. Oh, sure, I'll pay the rent. I don't pay the rent. It's going to be 3 months before anything's going to happen anyway, and I'm out and I'm gone and I'm free and clear.
Yeah. So it's not generally a good idea. I mean, if you know someone really well, you might take a chance on that. But
It'd be okay. The better option would be to make sure that the landlord's in on the deal and agrees to maybe just assign the lease to somebody else for those 3 months, and that way you could be not obligated for that period of time.
Oh, that's a
Yeah, I
great
was going to
idea.
say, what are some of the remedies here, but maybe that is one of the potential remedies, assuming, but it's good to be transparent with everybody involved.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, and make sure you know what your rights are, and if you intend to do this, even if it says you can't, I suppose it doesn't hurt to go to that landlord and say, look, here's the position I'm in, can I do this?
Yeah, and a lot of times landlords, if they've got a new tenant or you've got a good tenant, they might be willing to let you sublease it, particularly if if everyone is really clear about the idea that you're still responsible for that rent. I mean, that's the landlord's concern. They want to get their rent money. That's why they're doing what they're doing.
Okay, this is the second part of the question. So the person finds out that they're not paying. Can they probably can't even make them move out, or can they make them move out?
Well, the landlord is in the position of doing that. So the rent's not paid, it's a rent in possession action, it's an eviction. They can get that subtenant to move out. They might have to do so through what's called an unlawful detainer action because they're not actually on the lease the landlord owns. Has or owns.
Wrote up, yeah.
Or, yeah.
Whatever.
Is the party to that. But then, so there's this person that's stuck in the middle. They don't have a great remedy, but if they did their sublease at least in, well, it didn't have to be in writing. It would be better if it was. They could actually sue the subtenant for not paying that if they pay the landlord. So let's say the total amount of rent for the summer is what, maybe $1,800. Let's just ballpark that. They pay the landlord the $1,800 so that they don't get sued. Their credit doesn't get ruined. They're out $1,800. They could sue that subtenant and say, hey, you didn't pay the rent like we agreed, you need to pay me. Whether they'll be able to collect on that's a whole different issue.
Sure it is.
But they do have a remedy if there was an agreement in place.
Yeah, talk to the landlord first. I want to stay on that deal.
Just get everybody on board and see what you can do.
Yeah, make sure you know what you're doing, and be careful who you rent to. And you may get thrown out, too, because you just violated your lease with letting somebody in. So be careful what you do. Don't get in trouble. If you have a legal question for Will, email him at wworsham@color10.com, and he will be happy to answer your question on the show. Thanks, you so much.
Will. Great to see you.
Good to be here.
See you next week. Up next, Kim and Barbara from Advanced Tour and Travel have some vacation plans just for you. They are up next, so stick around.